Welcome to another episode of Content Matters. My name is Alex Felice, here on a Saturday morning. I know the day this time, with my good buddy, Sean McGuire. What's up, Sean?
Hey, what's up, Alex? I am so surprised you know what day of the week it is. I feel like this is a first.
One in a row. Don't get used to it.
One, you're
We have a lot to cover
one in
today.
a row. I love it.
We got a lot to
Yes.
cover today. I'm in my new office, so I look terrible. I might sound terrible. I'm running off the hotspot on my phone because it's not done yet, but I really needed to get into an office. So I've been living out of 600 square foot house with no office, no desk for 6 months, living off the coffee table hunched over. There's no way to work. So really excited about that. But you had a big week too.
Yes. Just got done with WealthCon, Ryan Pineda's WealthCon. Had some great speakers. Sean Cannell, Ed Milet, uh, Jen Gottlieb, Ryan, and yeah, had some really good takeaways I want to talk about. First one, jumping up, I was researching it after Sean Cannell mentioned it, but he was saying Goldman Sachs expects the creator economy to reach $500 billion by 2023. And right now, they're saying globally there's about 50 million people that are content creators, and they expect it to grow at a 10 to 20% compound annual growth rate over the next 5 years. And I was surprised by that because I mean we both know content's growing, but $500 billion by 2027 actually was the year, not 2023. By 2027.
Naval Ravikant says, in the future, everyone will be part of the creator economy. I think we're in a really interesting moment. If you look at like what people are making and what people are buying, the only thing they're buying is attention. Like if you live in America, right, your needs are met pretty with pretty low income. I mean, you could drive a nicer car and buy a bigger house, but like food, shelter, water doesn't cost that much. So you can live light and just spend all your time on the internet, which is what people are gonna probably start doing more and more. Which means the people who make all of the valuable things are gonna be creators on the internet. So it's coming. It's coming so big, which is why we're doing this podcast because content matters. On that note, I think it's interesting that WealthCon is like it's WealthCon, but really those are all content folks. I mean, they're talking about money. Some of them, Sean's not talking about money. Not really. They're talking about making content. Ryan's popular because he makes content. Ed's popular because he makes content. I don't even know what business Ed's in, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean,
those are
I
all
know he has
those are all
podcast and owns some islands, but
yeah. He's not as far as I can tell. I don't know what money I don't know what he's talking about. I mean, I don't know his content that well, so other people might, but like I know him as a podcaster. So
yeah. And well,
I
and
think
that's the
it's
other thing. It's like everyone who gets invited to go is creating content, and that's why they're, getting
it's the
invited because that's how they get discovered.
content and exposure and attention and audience is the social. It's the new economy. Like money is you can't even buy your way into that room. If you had no audience, you couldn't go like, "Hey, Ryan, I'll give you 50 grand. Can I go speak on stage?" I don't use Instagram. He'd probably be like, "Nah, I'm good. I don't need that." You know what I mean? Like the attention is worth more. It's quickly
Hmm.
becoming worth more than money. I have a buddy in Las Vegas actually who's um, he does okay financially, but he does really good on YouTube, and he gets invited to rooms that are like way above his pay grade, and that's because the attention is worth more than the dollar now, and that's gonna continue.
The attention economy. Well, so
Yeah,
that yeah, Sean Cannell's talk was great because he was talking. He showed. If you haven't seen it yet, you should look it up. His first very YouTube video where there's barely any backdrop, didn't have any light. He had no enthusiasm, and he's just showing people, the journey of where he started to where he is, and then he started to talk about, where it's going, and then also, we don't fall to our goals, we fall to our systems. I think that might be a James Clear quote, but he was basically saying you got to create, your routine with your systems and how you do things, and then fine tune it so that you can keep doing it time over time, like he's done for the last 10 years. And I think their channel, he showed a screenshot made about $400,000 on just their YouTube, ads. And then plus they're doing brand deals and all sorts of things.
He's
I know they
huge,
got
yeah.
multiple
Well, they also sell their
ways of making
course. They do all
money.
sorts of stuff. I
Hmm.
got his course, by the way. I'm in the middle of taking it right now. It's brilliant.
Oh,
It's
nice.
simple, but it's effective. It's like it's a really good system. So Sean Cannell is just getting started, and he's been doing it a while. So it's interesting. Like people think it's too late. I'm like, it is not started. Like some of these folks that are popular are just the early, super early adopters. But like right now is the moment.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
reminds
it's
me of
only
that brings up a topic I want
yeah.
to talk about freelancing.
Hmm.
Maybe a little off topic, but right now, folks that are like sort of, I'm a good example of somebody who I made good money as a freelancer, but then I took this full-time gig for this one individual, which is I know something I've mentioned you want to do. But I think as the attention economy and the creator economy grows, I look at it more and more and I go, this could be a really big problem for people, you know, like Ryan, who, what's going to happen if Justin Barry gets really, really big? And it's like, he's not going to come work for you anymore. He's going to go do his own thing. Same thing with Brandon Turner. He's like, I just got too big. I'm not going to go be a creator for a brand. Well, the same thing's going to happen to the videographer. And the videographer, many times, is the real creator. And so the videographer, the Sean McGuire, who goes and freelances and makes 100 grand a year, and then somebody picks him up and they're like, hey, we'll pay you 150 grand a year, but you got to work for us full time. And he does that for a little while, but on the side, he's still like creating for his own personal brand. And his personal brand, his content takes off. And he's like, well, now I make 200 grand on YouTube. Why would I work for anybody else? Why would I take the W-2? So I think there's going to be a real problem for these entrepreneurs who are hiring full-time creators. The margin for what you can pay them that meets their talent, but is under what they're worth on their own, is going to get smaller and smaller. For example, Hermosi just put out an ad for a YouTube editor at 60 grand a year. And I'm just like, I know what 60 grand a year for a video editor gets you. It's not world class. It's good, but it's not world class. And if you're a really, really good video editor, you can go online, you can teach people Premiere, right? Or you can just entertain them with your editing and make more. I
Sure.
mean, 60 grand a year is 5 grand a month. It's five, you sell 5 editing courses for $1,000 a pop, or 10 at 500. You know what I mean? Like the creator economy it's here, it's coming, and it's gonna create some interesting like dynamics.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that you say that with the gap being closed as the creators or the on-camera talent. Because I look at like Think Media, for instance, with like Omar Altakori and
Dude, he's
some of the other
amazing.
people that are in their videos, because they're popping because Sean Cannell gives them opportunity to create the videos and go on the channel, and then that way I know Sean just had a second child, so he can take kind of a back seat, so to speak, of having to be just the spokesperson. So it's cool on one end because you see them put other people on and they can grow their brand and they get an opportunity and exposure. But then, like you said, what happens when they can make more money on their own and their brand grows and they're like, all right, you're not paying me enough. I'm going to start my own thing now.
Yeah, not just money, but alignment, right? If Omar's like, hey, it's money plus, I don't want to say culture, but money plus purpose. It seems like Sean and Omar are really well like dialed in on the same mission. But man, you start getting people that are on different missions, right? It's like, hey, I really want to be a video editor, and well, the nature of shorts trends have changed, and I don't really want to make that, and I can make more on doing it my way. And it's going to be a really interesting time where, again, because it's inherently the creatives are inherently artistic, and I think the entrepreneurs are inherently marketing. When those don't always match up, right? The only thing left is money, and the money is going to get harder for. It's going to get the money is going to get far easier for good creatives. Even actually, the Gary Vee has been saying this for 10 years. He's like, even lousy creatives, right? Mediocre creatives, um, they're gonna you're gonna be able to make 50, 60 grand, 100 grand a year on the internet. It's not that hard now. So, getting hired to be $100,000 a year employee is just not going to make much sense, especially if you're not aligned. If you are aligned, it's not going to make much sense. If you're misaligned, it's like, why?
Yeah. Well, I think too that then that kind of brings to the other thing that we've talked about, where maybe the entrepreneur is going to give some of the rev share to the creator, the editor, the videographer to incentivize them to stay. So
Oh,
that could be
so
another.
like be part of the brand.
yeah, be part of the brand. You know, they don't want them to leave. Like you said, what happens if Justin Berry leaves Ryan? Well, what if Ryan offers Justin, hey, I'll give you X% of the
100%.
channel, or Hermosi gives Caleb X% of the channel, and the
That's what
channel
happened
keeps
with
growing.
that's what happened with
Yeah.
like Daily Wire. Like, so I'm not saying that that's not going to happen, but I mean, we just saw it. You know, it's the Daily Wire was Ben Shapiro, and now it's or it was Ben Shapiro, and now it's the Daily Wire, and now it's like five or six people, but they're really really well aligned. They all have ownership, right? And
Hmm.
then they had that fallout with that guy. I forget who. I forget his name, but they had that fallout, and they're like, I don't know what you're doing, but you know, he gave up a $25 million a year contract. Um, but it's gonna, you know, I mean, that's big potatoes, but small potatoes is gonna happen too. So yeah, I think you're gonna start seeing partnerships. I've been saying this for a long time. You're gonna start seeing partnerships in new ways because um, because of the creator economy. And it's like, dude, if I can create and get attention, it's gonna be worth. People undervalue what that's worth right now, but soon they're gonna be like, man, even small audiences are gonna start being worth something if you can monetize them.
Sure. Can you
You
hear
guys
that?
doing? Yeah, oh, yeah. You guys doing some rehab over there?
No, hold on. Let me just go grab that cat's playing on the bag. Hold on one second. Silly cat. She has this thing with paper bags, so every time we go to the grocery store, we'll save one, and then she'll make a little like nest out of it.
Um,
um, I
ca
was gonna ask you, have you
ca
heard Ed Milet talk before?
no,
No. Okay.
no.
Great public speaker.
Oh yeah,
Uses full stage, uses physical humor, good voice inflection, even does kind of like the NLP thing where he'll snap. I noticed he snaps at all
yeah.
the kind of the sad parts where he really wants to drive home a certain talking point. But one thing
Dude,
that he said, yeah.
I was gonna say the if I have a speaking engagement in December, and I really want to do more speaking, but the first one of the things I want to do if I get any more gigs is hire a coach. That's just one of
Oh,
those things
sure.
where it's like, dude, practice. Get somebody to help you out. Don't try to learn that on your own, stage by stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I know Ryan hired a coach after I don't know when, but he's mentioned it publicly that he hired a speaking coach and wanted to become a better speaker and talked he when he has his podcast, he uses that as an opportunity to ask people questions and things that he wants to learn. So he had Ed on his podcast recently, and he was saying that he was asking Ed, "How can I be a better speaker?" And so, that's one of the advantages I don't even know if we've talked about because we haven't had other guests yet until we get to episode 10, which this is 9, so we're almost there. But having other guests on, then that's an opportunity for us to build the relationship with them, ask them questions that other people might be wondering or even ourselves might be wondering. And that's what Ryan did with Ed. And then he said he got some tips and tricks for how to be a better public speaker.
Yeah, I've been podcasting for a long time. I've been podcasting before this. I did a podcast called The Military to Millionaire. That was what? That's 5 years. I still do it occasionally. That's 5 years of podcasting. The people you meet are
Oh
incredible.
wow.
Um, and actually, from that podcast, I joined a mastermind for military veterans called the War Room. And probably four of my closest friends, business partners, and mentors are in that group. So, dude, just getting in rooms with folks. But this is another reason why, dude, that's why Vegas is so good. Like, there's just so many conferences and conferences, podcasting, like it's just networking, getting in front of these people. But if you have the audience, you get a lot more leverage. You can get different people.
Sure. Well, the
Yeah.
thing that stood out to me that I liked with Ed's talk, he was saying we are most qualified to help people who are going through the problems that we've gone through. And he uses the story of his dad. So his dad was an alcoholic. And then the person who helped his dad was also an alcoholic who, became sober and was recovering. And then during the process of Ed's dad becoming sober, he just kind of had the methodology of going to be sober for one more day. I'm going to be sober for one more day. And then he did that up until, 35 years until his death. And so just like that's why I think Ed's mantra is the power of one more. But
Oh,
he
sure.
had this like really beautiful kind of full circle moment where it's like if that other recovering alcoholic didn't help Ed's dad, that wouldn't have impacted Ed, and then Ed wouldn't have been able to do everything that he's done. And so it just kind of has the ripple effect where, like, if you really do help just one person, you don't know what that person's going to do. You don't know who they're going to help or impact. And it could totally compound.
Sure. Yeah, that's
And
the biggest
then,
mistake that content creators make is they make it about them. Actually,
yeah,
instead of
yeah,
trying to serve other people.
totally. And then there was a really cool other kind of moment that I wanted to share with you that happened. So ended up making friends with another videographer named Caleb. Shout out to Caleb if you're watching. I was telling him that we're doing this. So
What's his
he's
last name?
talking. I could look it up on Instagram.
No, it's fine.
Okay. So he's talking about how he went to WealthCon. He was really on the fence if he wanted to go. His wife was like, "We gotta go. You should go." And then he goes, didn't really want to go to the networking event. And it's like, oh, I'm going to go. I'm going to talk to 4 people. After exactly talking to 4 people, as he's leaving, he's going to the coffee shop. Ed Milet's there. And he's like, this is my chance. I got to talk to him. And he is really talking about, just like the divine timing of if he talked to 5 people, he would have been there longer and he would have missed Ed at the coffee shop. If he talked to 3 people, he would have gone and left too early. But he talked to exactly 4, goes and says, what's up, Ed? And then Ed says, hey, I got to run. Do you have a question? I only have a few minutes. And then he's like, no question. I just wanted to say hi. And then Ed's like, I got to go to the elevator. And then Caleb's like, well, should we walk and talk? And then he's like, sure. So then he literally, gets in the elevator with Ed because he's just trying to, be around Ed and talk to Ed. And Ed's like, where do you live? And Caleb says, oh, I live in LA. And he goes, what do you do? And he says, oh, I have a video production agency. And then Ed's like, interesting. My video guy just quit. Email my assistant. And just from the power of that one moment of saying hi, he emails the assistant. The assistant's like, hey, are you able to film the next day for Ed's talk? Caleb shows up to, me, Justin, Austin, Brandon, all the video crew filming for Ryan's like, hey, I'm here to film for Ed, but I don't have any cameras. So we lent him the cameras, and then he filmed, and I'm sure he'll do great. His work was really nice, but it was really cool after the fact talking to him, just because he had this beautiful moment of like, there's Ed, I gotta say hi, and like you just never know what could happen when you go to events like this. Like the power of meeting people, like one person can really just change your life, one conversation.
Do you go to many conferences?
Probably. I mean, for myself, like as an attendee, not as often as I go when I'm filming.
Yeah,
But
dude, I go to 5 conferences a year. For that, I mean,
okay,
for that reason, dude, networking, bro. Like,
yeah,
I bought all my real estate from putting myself just shaking hands,
yeah,
shaking
wow,
hands. I mean, you can call it divine. I don't really call it divine. I mean, I know maybe in the moment where my $3 million apartment building that I have in North Carolina, I got that because I went to a meetup one day and the guy's like, "Oh, Alex, aren't you buying in North Carolina?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, my broker buddy's here," and the guy's like, "Hey, I got this deal, which happened to be the exact type of deal I was looking for," and I just bought it.
wow,
But yeah, that shit happens all the time. You just gotta. It's the same thing as, dude. It's the same rule as content, which is why I don't understand why so many entrepreneurs are bad at it. It's like go get a lot of reps. You don't make You don't make the greatest shoes in the world by selling one sometimes. You got to sell as many as you possibly can every single day. And then somebody comes along and they're like, "Oh, hey, I own Walmart. Can I put your shoes in Walmart?" You're like, "Yes." You know what I mean? You gotta put a ton of reps out there. And so networking is the same way because it's just a people game. So I love that story. But that happens all the time, which is just it's the same thing as content. It's like who's gonna watch this show? Who's gonna be on this show? Who am I gonna press palms with? I mean, I got on the Bigger Pockets podcast in early, what seemed like late then, but now it seems early, episode 300 or 301, because I made friends with somebody on the internet who happened to work at BP, and then I met him in Las Vegas one day. We had breakfast, and she's like, "You're great. I got to get you on that show." I got on that show, and now I'm here in Las Vegas. Now I'm here in Maui working full time for Brandon Turner. So it's just about pressing a lot of palms, bro.
yeah. Well, I think too. Everyone always has, at least in Ryan's community, he's Christian and will pray before each day. So everyone always thinks it's the higher level. I mean, it might not be divine timing. It's just getting in the reps, talking to the right people, getting in the right rooms.
Well, I mean, uh, I'll speak to the how do I say this? And this is going to offend the Christians, but it'll offend the atheists too, right? It's semantics. You can call it divine timing. You can call it coincidence. I don't care what you call it, right? I know the rule is press a lot of palms,
Sure.
right? The divine timing is not going to happen if he didn't go to the event and talk to anybody. So you got to go there,
Yeah,
show
exactly.
up, right? And you know what? If it didn't happen, right? If he didn't meet Ed Milet, he wouldn't have said, "Oh, it was divine timing. It wasn't the right moment." So, oh, so I think you just gotta like, I don't know, press a lot of palms.
Sure. Talk to a lot of people.
Talk to a lot of people.
The
Hey,
one other
yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say the one part that really kind of humanized Ed for me was the AV team had some technical difficulties. His little intro video wouldn't play, and so Pat Hilton MC is like, "All right, cue the video," and then the video doesn't play. It was like an awkward 3 or 4 seconds, and he's like, "Are we gonna play it? Fuck the video." Ed Milet, and then he came out, and Ed's like, "You know what? I'm happy the video didn't even play. It's kind of cheesy, anyways, and it makes me look too cool, and I'm really not that cool. Honestly, guys, I'm insecure. I have a lot of self doubt, and I'm just like you." And I was just like, "Whoa, coming in strong. I love that because so many of the times the videos are so hype, and it makes them look like a god. And to hear him just be
That's
like, "Yeah, I'm glad it didn't even play."
that's our gift, bro. Our gift is to make people look good. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
but I do think, I mean, that's the problem with the internet in general, right? Everybody looks, you get the highlight reels, but the reality is, you know, everybody is insecure at times, you know, flawed, normal, boring. Everybody at home, when nobody's looking, is doing some stupid hobby or cheesy, little habit that they have that only their husband or wife knows about. And they're like, I play I got a little game on my phone that I play, here and there. It's the least productive thing I do. And it's embarrassing, but nobody knows about it. And everybody has something that's embarrassing to them that nobody else knows about. So, yeah, vulnerability can be very humanizing because we are all vulnerable, and it's the thing that people show the least. All right, I want to talk to you about
yeah.
I want to talk to you about something. I I went on the internet this week and I was doom scrolling and I was looking for creative inspiration, and I found a guy on YouTube that does a thing that I had never seen before. And what it looked like, it's basically him going up to strangers with a chest-mounted POV GoPro, or maybe it might be a phone, and you just see, right, the POV, and then he holds the camera up, right, holds the camera up, so you see this, okay, and then he takes a picture of a stranger, and then he posts the picture overlays the video, and so it's a horizontal, it's a portrait video, like it's a cropped GoPro video, and then he clips in with the pictures of strangers, street photography, and I'm like, oh, that's neat. I never seen that before. I got it's 3 million subscribers on YouTube. That's all he
Whoa.
does. That's all he does. There's no long form video. Are you looking it up?
Yeah, what's his name or what's the channel?
His name's Semkov. He's a Semyon Reshikov. 3.47 million subscribers. Russian guy. It's street photography. He speaks Russian. Don't know. Doesn't matter what he's saying. Right. He just goes up to strangers, usually attractive women. Not creepy.
Yeah.
Just not creepy. Nothing like that. He just goes up to we know women attractive self. So he just goes up to people. Right. You see a little BTS, takes a photo, and that's it. That's his entire channel. There's no long form. It's crazy to me. And I was like, bro, I already do this. I shoot pictures of people, not strangers, but candids, right? And so I went on the internet and I bought a little, I bought this little guy. They call it a
Oh,
necklace.
nice. Oh, very cool.
And it just, right? And then it took me a little bit of practice, and you got to get the GoPro. You can't shoot like this. You can't shoot like this. You got to shoot straight in front of the GoPro, right? And so I just went
I
out for the
love it.
last probably 4 days, and I've been shooting them. And the amount of people that have reached out to me right? Because I just basically did my version of it. It's not exactly the same, but my version of it. And the amount of people that have reached out to me and they're like, Alex, this is the best thing I've ever seen you make.
Really?
And so then I found another guy that does it. Only one. I've only found one other guy that does it. He does street photography in NYC. It's almost the same thing. A little more dialogue. He goes up. He's like, hey, can I show you? It's always uncomfortable, right? Shooting strangers is just uncomfortable. But anyways, 1.1 million subs on YouTube, 1.1 million subs on Instagram. Like, and so for the first time in my content creating career, my friend, I feel like I'm going to hit a trend that is uniquely hyper geared, designed for me. I'm like, this is BTS people plus
That's great.
portraits. I'm like, I did it. I did 3 of them last night. It's like so easy for me. So I don't know, just sharing. Just I want you to see them online, but they're fun.
That's your niche. How do you spell Semyon?
Oh,
I can't find him.
SEMYON. Yeah. So
Semyon.
for our listeners, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Semyon Rechkov, and that's all it is. It's 1 minute little clips, but yeah, 700,000 views, and I'm just like, I mean, they're attractive women. I mean, I'm taking pictures of, Brandon and other folks, but for me, I was like, man, I'm gonna go to Bigger Pockets Con, and I'm gonna make 100 of these, and just go up to people and be like, hey, who are you? And the other thing is, I was thinking is, how can I make this valuable? Not just here's a picture of a stranger, but like, hey, what's your best money advice? What's your best real estate investing advice? Right? Like, why should you come to conferences? Like, try to get some value out of them too. So it's not just like, here's a picture, but also like, here's some, some invaluable advice.
That's great. And then you'll get contact info from them because they'll say, hey, send me the picture.
Oh yeah. I'm so bad about that. Are you bad about that? I almost, it is like pulling teeth. I feel so bad for my friends and like people who I just take pictures of along the way and like, can I get that picture? I'm like, ugh. Yeah, I suppose. I'm so disorganized. The problem is, and this is when I learned, really, dude, this is so important. I make content for Alex. I take pictures of other people, but I make content for Alex. I don't care if 99% of what I make doesn't go on the internet. It's just, it sits on my hard drive. It sits on my hard drive, And so it's like pulling teeth trying to get me to give people content that I made about them. So, getting their contact info feels like it would be complicated. However, this is a good segue. However, I hired my first virtual assistant yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, so maybe they'll help. I'll be like, hey, we'll find a way to organize out and just be like, okay, these people need these pictures.
Totally. Yeah. Just have them say their handle or their name in the video, and then once you have it edited.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. What's your Instagram name? What's your Instagram handle? That's a good one.
Yeah. I'm okay. If somebody reminds me enough, I'll give it to them. I did have an interesting, like, in the middle of the conference at Ryan's, one of the attendees came up to me. I don't know if he didn't realize that I was working there or not, even though I have like a staff badge. But he's like, hey, can you help us film like a quick little interview? Because like some people all the time are like filming reels or like short little interviews. Like, hey, I'm here with Alex. Tell me one piece of advice for a content creator. And then you're like, oh, it doesn't matter what you have, iPhone or DSLR, just get one and go. It's like, all right, thanks. And then like that's the video. So I'm thinking it's something like that. And then I'm like, sure, what are we going to do? And he's like, oh, I'm going to do a 30-minute interview. And I'm like, dude, I'm working right now. I can't step away for 30 minutes to help you.
Do you have a problem saying no?
That's a good question. I mean, I generally like to help people if I can, especially if it's with something that I know I can do. So, but yeah, I probably have a hard time saying no.
I like helping people too, but yeah, when I'm at a conference, I'm at Bigger Pockets conference, and I get I'm going there next week, and I'm getting tons of people that reach out to me last minute. And they're like, Alex, while you're there, can you film me? And I'm like, no, I know, but
Yeah.
it is definitely different in the moment. But I'm much more conflict oriented. So for me, it's not a question of. I mean, I like helping people. I don't like saying no, but also it's not a problem. So I just always ask people that because I find myself to be on the outlier of like, yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you. Like,
Yeah.
especially too, if you're there working, I'm like, first you owe, or not you owe, but like you are I'm paid by the people. I'm loyal to them today. To create to WealthCon. And then
Yeah.
secondly, they do this thing where in my head I do this mental calculation. I'm like, you asked me to come work for you for 30 minutes or 45 minutes. I'm like, do you know what that actually costs? Do you know what? Not that I want to nickel and dime anybody, but I'm like, you just want me to come work like I'm here with all my gear, I'm working, and you just want me to come work for free? Like, do you know what you're actually asking me to do?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, for real. It was interesting. The same guy came up to me and asked me twice at two different times where I'm like, and then I was just like,
Oh,
ah, not right now. But
yeah.
I don't know. It made me want to be, because I know he did like wholesales or something. So I wanted to be like, hey, will you find me a house and just include me in on it for free? Like, does that sound cool? You know?
Yeah, dude, I took some video of my buddy Cameron the other day on my Instagram. That's just beautiful photo and videos of his kids at the beach. And he's like, dude, this is priceless. And I'm like, it's not priceless. It's probably worth one house. He flips 100 houses a year. And I'm like, just next time you get one, you just gonna have to give it over to me.
Fair trade.
All right, we're over time. We're over time. So I gotta ask you real quick, Sony or Canon?
Sony all day, baby.
Incorrect. Nice try though.
Uh,
That was a close one that time. It was a close one.
I had one other thing that we could talk about real quick, a minute or less. It was interesting new news. I don't know if you saw it yet.
Hit me.
Meta plans to charge $14 a month to have a free, ad-free Instagram and Facebook feed.
Of course.
Yeah. So
That was always gonna happen.
yeah. I mean, I wasn't sure when, but I think
Well,
it's just interesting.
well, we're seeing now. I'll tell you what's gonna happen. When the next 10 years, what's gonna happen is like first it's get everybody hooked. It's drugs. Get everybody hooked, right? Then charge them. But with the internet, it's gonna be different because it's everybody. What they're gonna do, and you're seeing it now with like paid communities, paid masterminds, right? Ryan's got a paid mastermind. It's access. It's education, but a little bit it's just access. So the internet's going to do the same thing. It's going to be $14. It's going to be a premium experience, but then also, before too long, it'll be $100 a month. But you get to be around other people. It's kind of like Tinder Plus. Like you pay, but it's like you're paying to meet more, you know, other people who pay, right? And so the internet's going to
Yeah.
go towards paid access, and that's going to create a caste system in the United States on a sort of a soft level where it's like you're poor, you can't afford the good internet, you can't afford access to the people who can, and you get a split between rich and poor.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
humanity has always done, by the way. Um, you know, the working class versus the elites. It's always done that. So the internet's just going to give it. It's just a new phase.
Sure.
Are you gonna?
I
Would
mean,
you do
yeah, I
it?
think it'll be. Uh, maybe. I mean, I pay for YouTube Red, so
Uh
I
huh.
can have no ads on
Do you pay
YouTube, and that's
for?
like $10 a month.
Do you pay for Meta? Um, whatever it is, verified blue check.
Oh no, no,
Yeah,
don't pay for the check mark.
I pay for the check
I mean,
mark,
I
and
just think it'll be. Yeah,
I pay
you
for the
pay
check
for.
mark.
You like the check mark?
Don't know, don't care. I think there's some. I think I don't know. Don't know, don't care. There's something to be said about again. It's simple. It's like, do you want to be part of the class of people who, when somebody looks like, oh, they can afford $15 a month to throw at Meta, it's like, are you stupid or do you just have so much money? Either way, or are you like I don't say stupid. Are you you know are you just somebody who desperately wants to be blue check? Is it a status thing, or do you just have so much money to throw away? And my sort of position is like, well, I want status and I can afford it, and I want to be seen as somebody who like is the status is just worth it to me and I can afford it. And the same thing for any time that they give you a status, I will probably pay for it because then the other people who have the status are like, oh, you're one of us, and that's just it. To me, like social dynamics are very simple. It's like there's haves, there's have-nots. The economy in the next 20 years, 30 years is going to split between more haves, more have-nots. And a lot of that is going to be access. And so you can choose. You can say, oh, I'm not going to pay. And it's like, okay, fine, but you're going to be part of those who don't have. You're part of the have-nots. So I'm always going to buy the status.
Wow. Good. Yeah, that's a good breakdown of the methodology behind that.
Now, if it's just no ads, I probably won't buy that. I'll just watch the ads. Maybe. Depends on how bad they get. I watch
Yeah.
a lot of YouTube. I don't pay for YouTube Red, but I should just because I watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah, no, same here. It was great for YouTube Red, and then also like you can close out YouTube and keep playing the
Music.
video and music. Because I use YouTube like it's like my podcasting, video, documentary. I use it for everything, but at least in the regards to the Meta and Instagram, with the ads, it'll just be interesting to see what the people who are running ads for their funnels for their courses or products do. I mean, I think they'll probably use more UGC created content and send it to more people who already have audiences versus, running the ads now.
Yeah. People who run ads on Instagram, yeah, that's going to change your dynamic because again, if you get the split where everybody who has a little bit of money is going to just pay to not see the ads, then all of your ads go to poor people,
Yeah, totally.
which is going to have to change your product, So, or you have to do what you said, which is become hyper good at organic.
Yeah. I think we'll see an increase in organic, and then there'll be more community building, and yeah, I was just reading some notes on it.
Yeah.
More organic content, and there'll be more opportunity for organic content and UGC creators. So
Very exciting times. All right, we were way over time. We got to
we're
be
way
shorter
over
next
time.
time.
All right, cool. But hey, we did it.
We
Wasn't
did it,
perfect
yeah.
circumstances for you.
It's never been
you're,
perfect.
you're moving in, and we still did it. So kudos, my friend. Always
Yeah,
good
man.
to see you.
Yeah, have a good Saturday. I got a big day.
Cool. Yeah, same here. I gotta go film this event. I'm filming. Shaq is having a concert charity event thing, so I gotta go film that.
You're a beast.
Yeah.
All right, go. See ya later.
All right. Peace.
Make sure your video uploads.